Welcome back. I'm your host at Navy Legends, and I want to begin this one with a question that every naval strategist has been wrestling with since the first aircraft carrier replaced the battleship as the centerpiece of maritime power. What happens when you take the command ship out? Not the carrier, not the destroyer, not the cruiser with the SM-3 inventory, the ship nobody talks about, the ship with no Tomahawks, no VLS cells, no fighter aircraft on its flight deck, the ship that carries instead the flag communications suite, the Joint Force Command Network, the commanders who translate strategic intent into operational reality, the ship that, if it goes silent, takes with it the coordination infrastructure of an entire theater of operations. That ship is the USS Mount Whitney, LCC-20, a Blue Ridge-class command ship, the afloat command platform of the U.S. 6th Fleet, and on the morning of December 9th, 2026, the temporary afloat command node for Combined Joint Task Force Operation Sentinel Gate, the multinational maritime security operation in the Gulf of Oman theater. And on that morning, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Air Force and the IRGC Aerospace Force, operating in a degree of operational coordination that U.S. intelligence had not assessed as achievable before this engagement, demonstrated that they had been studying that question. What happens when you take the command ship out? For considerably longer and in considerably more detail than anyone in the 5th Fleet's planning staff had assumed. The date is December 9th, 2026. The time is 3:47 local. The Gulf of Oman, approximately 94 nautical miles southeast of the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas in international waters. The Gulf of Oman is the body of water that connects the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz to the Arabian Sea. It is approximately 450 kilometers long and 330 kilometers wide, with depths ranging from 1,000 to 3,400 meters. It is not the shallow, mine-plagued Persian Gulf. It is deep, open ocean with sufficient water depth to make submarine operations viable and sufficient sea room to allow a maneuvering surface combatant meaningful defensive options. The USS Mount Whitney is making 11 knots on a course of 142 degrees, accompanied by her standard protective screen. The guided missile destroyer USS Mahan, DDG-72, 2.8 nautical miles ahead on the threat axis toward Iran, and the guided missile frigate USS Constellation, FFG-62, the newest warship in the U.S. Surface Fleet, the first of the Constellation class, deployed to the 5th Fleet for its operational evaluation period, 3.4 nautical miles to the northeast. The fast attack submarine USS Helena, SSN-725, is running submerged 18 nautical miles north-northeast of the surface group, providing acoustic coverage of the Strait of Hormuz approaches. What makes the Mount Whitney unusual? What makes her the target that the IRGC's operational planners have spent 14 months preparing for is not her weapons. She has almost none. Her defensive armament consists of 2 Mark 38 25mm chain gun mounts, 2 Phalanx CIWS Block IB systems, and a suite of decoy launchers. She has no VLS cells. She has no surface-to-air missiles. She cannot engage a ballistic target. She cannot kill an incoming cruise missile at more than 1,500 meters range. She is, in terms of self-defense, against a sophisticated multimodal attack, the most vulnerable major warship in the U.S. Navy's inventory. And she is the ship whose loss, even a temporary mission kill, even a communications degradation that lasts 4 hours, would disrupt the command and control architecture of a multinational task force at a moment when that disruption produces its maximum strategic effect. The IRGC's operational planning for the December 9th engagement began by U.S. intelligence assessment in early November, triggered by the deployment of the Mount Whitney to the Gulf of Oman and the coincident escalation of U.S. and partner naval presence following the October 6th Fateh submarine attack on the USS Nimitz. The planning used a targeting concept developed by IRGC Aerospace Force planners that they called in the communications intercept that gave U.S. analysts their first warning. 22 hours before the attack. The two-layer strike. Layer 1. Ballistic missiles to force the escorting warships into defensive engagement mode, consuming their anti-air attention and their intercept inventory. Layer 2. Jet-powered cruise missiles arriving in the defensive window created by the ballistic engagement, targeted not at the escort ships, but at the command ship itself. The two-layer strike. Simple in concept. Extraordinarily difficult to defend against when the two layers are precisely timed and the command ship has no self-defense capability against either layer. At 3:47:22, the USS Mahan's AN/SPS-67 surface search radar and the Constellation's AN/SPY-6 air and missile defense radar, the most advanced surface search and air defense radar system currently deployed on a U.S. surface combatant, simultaneously detect ballistic tracks lifting from a launch area in Hormozgan Province, Iran, approximately 130 kilometers to the north-northwest. The track count resolves in 3.7 seconds. 4. Fateh-110D ballistic missiles, solid-fueled, GPS and INS guided, with a CEP of approximately 10 meters against fixed targets and a terminal maneuver capability that degrades that performance to approximately 45 meters against a moving ship-size target. Their apogee profile and downrange trajectory compute impact solutions centered on the task group's projected position in approximately 7 minutes and 14 seconds. 7 minutes and 14 seconds. The Constellation's AN/SPY-6 radar, which has 4 times the sensitivity of the SPY-1D it replaces and a substantially improved track quality against small ballistic targets, is already generating fire control solutions. But the Constellation's VLS load for this deployment does not include SM-3 interceptors. The SM-3 Block 2A, which provides exo-atmospheric intercept capability against medium-range ballistic missiles, is not part of the Constellation's operational evaluation weapons load. She carries SM-2 Block 3B and ESSM rounds, capable air defense weapons, but not optimized for endo-atmospheric ballistic intercept at the engagement ranges and terminal velocities produced by the Fateh-110D. The USS Mahan carries 8 SM-3 Block IB interceptors in her VLS, 8 rounds against 4 targets. A 2 interceptor per target salvo is the standard engagement protocol. She fires at 03:48:06, 44 seconds after track detection, in a ripple sequence that puts all 8 rounds airborne over 32 seconds. The engagements occur in exo-atmosphere at altitudes between 88 and 112 kilometers. 3 of 4 intercepts are clean kinetic kills. The LEAP kill vehicles perform within specification. 3 Fateh-110D re-entry vehicles are destroyed at altitudes and ranges that pose no threat to the surface group. The 4th intercept, targeting the westernmost Fateh-110D, which has executed a larger-than-assessed terminal maneuver, a 4.7 G lateral correction burn at 62 kilometers altitude, results in a partial intercept. The LEAP KKV strikes the re-entry vehicle's aft guidance section, destroying the terminal GPS receiver and the attitude control thrusters. The warhead section, intact but unguided, continues on a ballistic freefall toward the Gulf of Oman. Its projected impact point, computed by the Constellation's combat system in real time, is 1,100 meters east-northeast of the Mount Whitney's current position. The Mount Whitney is maneuvering at maximum speed, 18 knots, all available shaft power from her 2 diesel engines, and executing a hard turn away from the projected impact point. At 18 knots, she can cover approximately 550 meters in the 110 seconds remaining before impact. The combined effect of her maneuver and the dispersion of the unguided warhead is uncertain. The projection has a radius of error of approximately 200 meters At 3:55:41, the Fateh-110D warhead section, a 480 kilogram hardened steel penetrator assembly, impacts the Gulf of Oman at terminal velocity, 740 meters from the Mount Whitney's current position. The impact generates a water column 160 meters high. The shock wave from the impact of a 480 kilogram steel mass at approximately 1,200 meters per second reaches the Mount Whitney's hull as a 0.2 G impulse, felt throughout the ship, causing no structural damage, breaking 2 porthole seals in the ship's flag operations center from the overpressure differential, and prompting every sailor on the weather decks to instinctively take cover. The Mount Whitney is undamaged. Her communication systems are operational. Her flagstaff is intact. And the IRGC's second layer is already airborne. The Shahed-238 is not the same weapon as the Shahed-136 that became infamous for its use in Ukraine. The Shahed-136 is a subsonic, propeller-driven loitering munition, effective against fixed targets, trackable by radar, engageable by virtually any modern air defense system. The Shahed-238 is a fundamentally different system, a jet-powered delta-wing cruise missile with a turbojet sustainer that drives it to a cruise speed of approximately 560 knots, nearly Mach 0.9, at a sea-skimming altitude of 8 to 15 meters. Its radar cross-section is substantially reduced compared to a conventional cruise missile by its composite airframe construction. Its 50-kilogram precision warhead is smaller than a Nazarwan or a harpoon, but it is precisely guided by a dual-mode GPS and passive infrared seeker that homes on the thermal signature of a ship's propulsion plant in its terminal phase. Its specific vulnerability, what every analysis of the Shahed-238 program has identified as the system's primary tactical limitation, is its operational range. At full jet power and sea-skimming altitude, the Shahed-238's range is approximately 900 kilometers. The Iranian launch positions, assessed at coastal facilities near JASSM on the Makran coast, are approximately 680 kilometers from the task group's position. The range is within the weapon's capability. The flight time at cruise speed is approximately 73 minutes. The weapons were launched 73 minutes before the Fateh-110D ballistic salvo arrived. The IRGC planned for the cruise missiles to arrive as the escorting warships were processing the aftermath of the ballistic engagement, while the Mahan's crew was assessing her SM-3 inventory expenditure, while the Constellation's SPY-6 was transitioning from ballistic tracking mode to surface search mode, while the task group's commanding officer was filing his combat report to 5th Fleet. In those moments of cognitive reorientation, 22 Shahed-238 cruise missiles cross the radar horizon of the task group. The Constellation's SPY-6 acquires the inbound contacts at 3:56:14, 33 seconds after the ballistic warhead impact. Range at first detection, 38.4 nautical miles. Speed, 540 knots, consistent with Shahed-238 cruise profile. Count, 22 contacts, approaching from bearing 318 to 332, spread across a 14-degree arc. They are not approaching the Mahan. They are not approaching the Constellation. Their approach geometry, computed by the Constellation's combat system in 2.1 seconds, converges on a single projected impact point. The USS Mount Whitney. All 22 missiles are targeted at the command ship. The TAO aboard the Constellation recognizes the geometry immediately and calls the task group commander on the secure circuit. COMJTF, Constellation TAO. 22 inbound cruise missiles, all targeted at Whitney. We are engaging. You need to maneuver Whitney now. The Mount Whitney's commanding officer, receiving the same tactical picture via data link, does not wait for direction. He orders maximum speed and a turn toward the Mahan, interposing the destroyer's more capable defensive systems between the command ship and the incoming missiles. he activates the Mount Whitney's 2 Phalanx systems and orders the ship's decoy launchers to fire a full pattern of chaff and infrared decoy rounds. The Constellation begins her engagement at 3:56:44. SM-2 Block 3B rounds leave the VLS in a sustained ripple, 1 every 1.6 seconds. The Mahan, repositioning to cover the Mount Whitney's new course, adds her own SM-2 rounds. Between the two ships, 24 SM-2 rounds are in the air within 40 seconds. The engagement geometry is favorable. The missiles are approaching from a relatively narrow arc, allowing both ships' fire control illuminators to cover the full threat sector without significant geometry conflicts. The SM-2 engagement accounts for 16 Shahed 238 missiles in the 25 to 8 nautical mile band. Clean kills: the Shahed 238 at Mach 0.9 and with a radar cross-section of approximately 0.04 square meters is well within the SM-2's performance envelope against a sea-skimming cruise missile target. 6 missiles survive the SM-2 layer. The Constellation's ESSM rounds engage 4 of the 6 survivors in the 8 to 2 nautical mile band. 2 more kills. 2 missiles remaining. Range: 2.1 nautical miles from the Mount Whitney. Time to impact: approximately 14 seconds. The Mount Whitney's 2 Phalanx systems engage simultaneously. The starboard CIWS acquires the closer contact, bearing 322, range 1,900 meters, and fires a 0.8-second burst. The Shahed 238 detonates in the fragmentation pattern at 1,700 meters. The port CIWS acquires the second contact at 1,600 meters and fires. The burst is 0.6 seconds, 60% of a standard burst. The CIWS radar tracking system, operating at its processing limit with a second target appearing in its field simultaneously from the Mahan's CIWS engagement on a nearby contact, produces a 0.14-second tracking interruption. A processing lag that shifts the fire control solution by approximately 4 meters in the target's favor. The Shahed 238 passes through the edge of the 20-millimeter fragmentation pattern. 14 rounds strike the missile's right wing and fuselage section. The turbojet engine is destroyed. The guidance electronics are severed from the warhead section. The missile loses controlled flight and impacts the Gulf of Oman at high speed, 68 meters from the Mount Whitney's porthole. A tumbling engine-dead, guidance-severed airframe carrying a 50-kilogram precision warhead with a functioning impact fuse. The warhead detonates on water impact, 68 meters from the hull. The explosion is not large by naval standards. 50 kilograms of explosive is a fraction of the warhead weight in a heavyweight torpedo or a major anti-ship missile. But 68 meters is not a safe distance for a 50-kilogram detonation against a vessel with the Mount Whitney's defensive architecture. The blast wave reaches the hull as an overpressure of approximately 8 kilopascals at the waterline, sufficient to shatter the ship's below waterline porthole seals across the port side from frame 60 to frame 88. Water begins entering through 6 failed seals at a combined rate of approximately 220 liters per minute. Manageable by the ship's bilge pumps, but requiring immediate damage control attention. 3 sailors on the port weather deck are thrown against the deck railing by the blast concussion. 2 sustain lacerations. 1 sustains a dislocated shoulder. All 3 are ambulatory. More critically, the blast overpressure propagates through the ship's hull into the Flag Operations Center, a compartment specifically hardened for shock resistance, but not designed to absorb the overpressure load of a near-contact explosion on the waterline. The Flag Operations Center's primary communications server rack, bolted to the port bulkhead, has its mounting hardware shear on one of 4 mounting points. The rack tilts 11 degrees, and the primary UHF satellite communications terminal loses its antenna alignment. The terminal goes offline. The Mount Whitney loses UHF SATCOM connectivity to 5th Fleet and to the Multinational Task Force's satellite communications architecture. For 27 minutes, the time required for the communications team to diagnose the fault, realign the antenna, and restore connectivity, the afloat command node of Combined Joint Task Force Operation Sentinel Gate is operating on backup HF radio circuits. 27 minutes, during which the task force's coordinating authority cannot receive or transmit on the primary communications architecture that the entire multinational operation runs on. 27 minutes, during which Fifth Fleet is flying operationally blind. 27 minutes during which the IRGC's second echelon planning, if it exists, has its maximum opportunity to execute without coordinated U.S. response. Fifth Fleet's post-engagement assessment will note, carefully and precisely, that the 27-minute communications degradation produced no additional Iranian military action and no exploitable operational gap in the task force's tactical posture. The Mahan and the Constellation maintained their defensive positions. The Helena, submerged, continued her acoustic coverage of the Strait of Hormuz approaches. The task force continued to function, but the assessment will also note, in language that is measured but unmistakable in its implications, that the 27-minute window was available, that an adversary with the situational awareness to know when the window opened and the assets pre-positioned to exploit it could have used those 27 minutes in ways that the post-engagement analysis does not want to fully enumerate. The assessment notes the gap. It does not close it. The U.S. response is authorized by Fifth Fleet at 4:31, 44 minutes after the first ballistic track detection. The target package is built around 3 categories of infrastructure. The Shahed 238 launch facility on the Makran coast near Jask, the Fateh-110D transporter erector launcher operating areas in Hormozgan province, and the IRGC Aerospace Force Command and Control node at Bandar Abbas that coordinated the 2-layer strike sequence. 6 Tomahawk Block 5 missiles from the USS Mahan arrive over the Jask launch facility at 5:44:17. The facility, a semi-prepared launch area with portable support equipment, fuel storage, and a command shelter, takes 4 direct impacts. The fuel storage detonates in a secondary explosion that burns for 3 hours. 2 of the 6 Tomahawks target the mobile support equipment, vehicles and trailers associated with the launch operations. Both impact within 6 meters of their aim points. The mobile equipment is destroyed. The Fateh-110D TEL area in Hormozgan province is engaged by 4 JASSM-ER missiles from 2 FA-18Fs launched from the USS Abraham Lincoln, operating 290 nautical miles south in the Arabian Sea. The imagery on which the aim points were built was 14 hours old at time of strike. Of 4 designated TEL positions, 2 are confirmed occupied. The TELs are present and destroyed. 2 positions are empty. The TELs had repositioned to alternate hide sites during the 14-hour window between imagery collection and strike execution. 2 of 4 JASSM-ERs impact empty prepared positions. 2 TELs survive. The IRGC Aerospace Force Command node at Bandar Abbas, a building identified by Signals Intelligence as the Operational Coordination Center for the 2-layer strike, is engaged by 2 Tomahawk rounds. Both impact the structure. Post-strike imagery shows the building's roof collapsed across its eastern section. The western section, containing what post-strike Signals Intelligence assesses as the node's backup communications equipment, sustains structural damage, but does not collapse. Signals traffic associated with the node reduces by approximately 70% in the post-strike window, and then begins recovering from an alternate location within 4 hours. The node is damaged. It is not destroyed. Its personnel, the planners who designed and executed the 2-layer strike concept, are not confirmed as casualties. They dispersed to hardened positions before the strike, following an operational security protocol that the IRGC has practiced for a decade against exactly this kind of precision retaliatory strike. Here at Navy Legends, the December 9th engagement will be discussed in naval war colleges for the next generation. Not because of what it destroyed, but because of what it demonstrated. The IRGC's two-layer strike worked. Not perfectly, not completely. The Mount Whitney was not sunk. Her communications were degraded for 27 minutes. By any traditional measure, the United States won decisively. 21 of 22 missiles intercepted, one near miss at 68 meters, a communications outage of less than half an hour. But the target was the command ship. And the command ship was mission degraded for 27 minutes. The IRGC got exactly what the two-layer strike was designed to produce. The question the engagement poses is structural. Why does the most important ship in a theater of operations carry almost no self-defense capability? The Blue Ridge-class command ships were designed in the 1960s. The threat environment has changed somewhat since then. The answer will be a command ship that can defend itself. SM-6, directed energy, not the most vulnerable vessel in its own escort screen. Until that ship exists, every IRGC planner with a Shahed 238 launch facility knows exactly which ship to aim for. Stay informed. Stay vigilant. I'll see you in the next one.